Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends. In this one we're going to be featuring Katarina as played by Myth. This is a replay that he sent me. It looks like it comes from a normal draft pick mode game. And we're also going to be focusing a little bit on the Zed player on the enemy team, because it turns out this was a game with a fed Zed. And yes, I appreciate the rhyming there. So, a little bit about these champions. This is a game that features an awful lot of assassin champions in this game. We're going to have Akali for the blue team. We're going to have Zed also for the blue team, and we're going to have Katarina for red team, which is what Myth is playing. All of them can charitably be called assassin champions. Katarina is maybe a little bit more team fight oriented due to the way her ultimate works, but I think it's fair to classify all of them as assassins, people whose job is to jump on top of one champion and burst them down and kill them really quickly. League of Legends, for much of the past year, has been in what people would consider to be an assassin metagame. That is, champions that are just heavy damage oriented are champions that have often been played both in solo queue a lot and also in the competitive scene. Zed, not so much. Zed's been a little bit more on the weaker side, but certainly Akali's been super popular for a long time. Throughout the end of Season 8, beginning of Season 9, she was like a permaban for a long time until she was nerfed and then got some more buffs. And then I don't think it's been nerfed again. But anyway, you get the idea. It's been an era of League of Legends where there's been a lot of focus on heavy damage, not so much on kind of sustain or tank or team fighting, but more, focusing on one champion, getting the kill on them, and then snowballing off of that. So we'll take a look at that in this game. I'll do the matchups real quick. Let's just look at what we have in the lanes. In top lane, we have Alawi for blue team against Yorick for red team. Mid, where we're going to be watching a lot, we have Myth's Katarina on red team up against an Akali player on blue team. And then the bot lane's kind of interesting. We have a Zed and Xerath pairing. You don't see Zed played in bot that often. Usually better in a solo lane. But Zed and Xerath up against Kai'Sa and Lux. And then the junglers are Jax for blue team and Elise on red team. So, Katarina, I'll just mention her passive real quick. Veracity, whenever an enemy champion dies that Katarina has damaged in the last 3 seconds, her ability cooldowns are reduced by 15 seconds. So this is the infamous, I need the resets, gotta get the resets so badly. If Katarina either, if an enemy champion dies that she's damaged, then her ability cooldowns are reduced by 15 seconds. And if you look at her cooldowns, 11 seconds, 15 seconds, 14 seconds, she can basically reuse all of her abilities if an enemy champion dies in the next 3 seconds. So most people who have been around League for a while are familiar with this, and part of what makes her kind of an assassin-based champion. Now I'm going to shift the focus down here into the bot lane, because we need to watch and see what happens here to this Zed player. Alright, so Zed gets harassed a little bit by the Lux, gets poked down here. Then we're going to see that binding miss. But we are going to have some more action here, trust me. So Zed takes more poke, and then takes another poke from Lux, and gets super low. So we're going to see flashes burned everywhere. Zed goes down to 30 HP. There's a flash after him. Lux is going to hit that binding, so it looks great for red team, but Xerath gets off an attack, and then Zed gets off a shuriken, and the minions! Oh, minion damage OP. Yes, minions do a lot of damage at low levels, and Kai'Sa has already burned her flash, so she cannot get away from that jungle Jax, who's Johnny on the spot, shows up at just the right moment, jumps on top, uses the counter stroke, uses the red buff to slow, and manages to pick off that kill. So a very bad start for the bot lane on this side. It looked like they were winning that pretty hard, but unfortunately overchased a little bit, got hit with the Xerath Q, got hit with a Zed Shuriken, and then the minions did the rest. So Zed gets a kill, and then the jungle Jax also gets a kill. Not a great start for them. Alright, going back to Katarina here for a moment. The other component of Katarina's passive is if she picks up a dagger, she uses it to slash all nearby enemies, dealing magic damage. A number of her abilities use that dagger function, but basically when she uses abilities, daggers get tossed on the ground, and if she picks up the dagger, she slashes everyone around them for magic damage. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. So like there's the dagger right there. If Myth walks up and touches this, he will do like a circular slash that hits everybody in the immediate surrounding region. He's also going to get ganked by this Xerath, who flashes in for the stun, and then continues chasing. Myth should be okay. He can Chun-Po away to the minions. That's a very aggressive play by the Xerath support. And then apparently Xerath hates Myth because he comes back again to get off another Xerath Q. The Comet proc is going to miss there at the end. So wow, that was pretty aggressive. Not really worth the flash to go in and get that. And a rather early roam as well. Alright, so let's try to look at some of Katarina's abilities. I'm going to start with her Q because this is what you skill up first. Bouncing Blade has no cost, is solely cooldown based like all of Katarina's abilities. Just cooldown based, Katarina throws a dagger, deals magic damage to the target and 2 nearby enemies. You do not control where it goes. Bounces to 2 nearby enemies. Dagger then ricochets onto the ground behind the primary target. Dagger always lands on the opposite side from where it struck the first target, getting there in the same amount of time regardless of how many times it bounces. Again, this is her main wave clear tool. She uses it for wave clear, also puts a dagger on the ground that she can then shunpo to, or alternately pick up to deal the slashing damage. So Katarina uses this again and again, and as I mentioned, she is purely cooldown based, so you will only see you don't have to worry about mana. Anyway, right here, look, Lux gets in trouble. She's going to take a ton of harass, and now Kai'Sa's the only one left. Zed's going to continue chasing. Let's see, now Xerath is going to use his Q, misses though, and it looks like you're going to be okay there. Also, we had a fight in the jungle, so let's go back and watch how this gets started. Alright, so this starts with an encounter between the 2 junglers. We have the Elise and the Jax trading, and it's pretty close. Jax gets super low. The Elise is going to follow. Both mid laners have followed as well. And Myth is going to get down there and actually claims this. And then Elise just barely survives. Meanwhile, Myth is following, uses a Shunpo. Just needs one more attack. He is going to get that and claims level 6 off of it. So goes to level 6 in the process. Goes 2-0 on the double kill. Also picks up 2 stacks for that Dark Seal. The Dark Seal was just nerfed in patch 9.7 and nerfed pretty hard, in fact. But Myth did still pick one up. I believe that this game was played just after the patch was released. And then Sid picks up another kill by grabbing that Elise, who was on super low health. I'm not sure why she didn't just recall back safely instead of walking down the river on like 10% health. But Sid picks up another kill and now runs his score to 3-0 on the game. And we're going to see Myth back here as well. Looks like everybody's just backing. So we'll take a minute here to reset and just kind of focus back in on what's happening in the game. So I mentioned the passive, I mentioned the Bouncing Blade for Katarina. Let's look at her other skills. I'm actually going to mention her Shunpo next. This is her 1-point skill. Katarina dashes in the blink of an eye to the target ally, enemy, or dagger. So she needs a target to jump to this. Oh, that's the Lux recall animation. Yeah, she needs a target to Shunpo to. Deals magic damage if it's an enemy. And picking up the dagger will also reduce the Shunpo cooldowns as well. Reduces it by quite a bit, actually. This text keeps disappearing. Picking up a dagger reduces the cooldown by, 84%. So basically, if she Shumpos to a dagger and picks it up, she can Shunpo again in short order. By the way, look how low this Zed is, but he's really baiting because he is at level 6. And yeah, that's what happens to Lux that has no armor whatsoever. Lux ignites Zed, but is not going to finish him off. Xerath actually has heal, and so Summoner Heals can prevent that from happening. And yeah, this is not a good start for poor Lux. You do not want to see an assassin getting fed because Lux is just going to die over and over and over again if an assassin gets super fed. Now here, we're going to see the Akali player use her, let's see, I believe she used her ult to jump in. Yep, there's the second cast of her ult. And meanwhile, the Jax is here as well, and Alawi's down here as well, just because they really, really hate Myth. And that's going to turn into a kill on Myth in the mid lane. And now blue team is going to look to take this dragon, which, lucky for them, is an Infernal Dragon. So they're in great shape here. Ahead 62 on kills, about 2,000 gold ahead in the team matchup. And in particular, they're really far ahead in this bot lane, where the Zed has already finished a Duskblade, even though he doesn't have any boots yet. Just straight up rushing the Duskblade for attack damage, cooldown reduction, and that armor penetration, lethality, armor penetration, whatever you want to call it. Allows him to chop right through enemies. And again, poor Lux going to get flashed on by Alawi. Then we're going to see the Alawi ult come out. Zed, let's see, just waiting for those cooldowns. Does he want to dive? No, apparently not so much. But blue team did get the Infernal Drake. And that's pretty good. Now Alawi's going to teleport back to top lane just as the minion wave hits her tower. So nice use of the teleport. Got the Infernal Drake for the team and still there to get most of the minion wave, although didn't farm that particularly well. The idea was still good, even if the mechanics were a bit lacking in execution. This has been a pretty action-heavy game, so I'm trying to cover Katarina's skills, but also show you guys the major plays that take place in this game. I will highlight the W here. Preparation, no cost. The text won't disappear. Katarina tosses a dagger into the air, gains decaying movement speed over 1.25 seconds. This is another way to get a dagger on the ground, is to use the W skill for Katarina. The reason why I'm showing you this camera focus down here is because they're waiting. Nice stun from the Xerath. That's going to lead to Zed going in using the Death Mark. So the Death Mark will pop and get one kill, and then Zed manages to finish off Kai'Sa for the second kill, as Zed goes to 6-0-0 on the game. And maybe this man does not need boots, because he's just killing everybody without them. Alright, in mid lane, we now have a continued trade between Myth and the Akali player. There's some help coming in, both junglers here. Akali has used her ultimate. Does she have that Twilight Child? We're going to see the Death Lotus used from Myth, and that together with the Ignite should be able to pick off that kill. Actually, the Akali player walked back into the tower, so would have died anyway to that tower shot. And now Jax is here, so it is still a potential 2v1 because Elise is here as well. Myth is going to Shumpo in. Jax commits forward with the jump and his counter-strike, and that's going to be a mistake because his Elise is right there. Jax did not know that Elise was still in the area, so that turns into 3 kills for Red Team. And as badly as they're losing on the bottom side of the map, they're doing pretty well up here on the top side of the map. In particular in mid, where Myth is 4-1 against the Akali's, what is that, 0-2-1. And in the top lane, where I believe that York is actually ahead because Alawi has left the lane. Yeah, York, it might not look like it. You might say, oh, this is not much from the York. He's 1,000 gold ahead in this matchup because he's gotten, what, 20 more minion kills, and he's also taken 3 tower plates. So again, there is an advantage sometimes to just staying in lane and farming. Like, you don't want to do that over much. You do want to be there to help out the team. But to a certain extent, if you leave lane too much, like this Alawi player has done, you do fall behind in the matchup just because the other person's farming and, you know, here in Season 9, taking the turret plates. So yeah, York's pretty far ahead. He's almost 1,000 gold ahead, and they're also quite ahead in mid. They are a long way behind in bot lane. And this poor Lux is just going to die every single time that Zed is able to get close to her. So that, not so much of a fun game. Not going to be a fun lane for her. And you can see Artie has died 4 times. Alright, and here comes Zed. He doesn't even need to use his ult. Now is going to use his ult. Puts the death mark onto Kaisa. And, yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you fall behind against an assassin. Still no armor on Lux, no armor on Kaisa. Like, granted, it's not a key part of the build, but Lux really does need, now that she's got her support item, now that she's got the Frostfang, should really be rushing the Zanyas, at least get the components of the Zanya, as we see another fight here between Myth and the Akali player. The Xerath player has roamed up mid again, and here comes Zed as well. As it turns out, Zed's going to claim that kill. So again, this is what can happen when a lane gets ahead or falls behind. Because the Zed is so far ahead bot, he can kill the bottom lane of Myth's team and then roam the other parts of the map and help out and pick up that kill on Myth. In fact, there's going to be another fight up here in top lane as well. So Alawi and the York are fighting. Elise is here as well. Alawi's getting relatively low. Jax is going to flash in, but he misses his counter-strike, so that's not too great. However, Zed has showed up as well. Zed not spending time in bot lane, just looking to get more kills. And granted, he has gotten 9 of them, so this is going pretty well thus far, but there is always a danger to when you avoid farming too much. We're going to see Xerath hit his stun, so looking to continue chasing. And then the slow is going to hit on Elise. Elise is quite low. Jax is going to jump in with, gets the counter-strike stun. Zed picks up the kill. Greedy Zed on the kill steals. Another nice stun from Xerath. And let's see, Zed's going to pick up that one with his Ignite. So another double kill for Zed, who goes 11-0-0 on the game. If there is one good benefit from this, it's that Lux and Kaisa have been able to sit bot and just farm this minion wave. Might have been better to keep one person in bot and not send both the support and the... I mean, I was going to say the AD, although I guess Zed isn't technically the AD, but maybe not the best idea to send both people up to this lane. Might have been better just to keep Zed there so someone was farming this lane, but instead, Kaisa does get some free farm. Overall, blue team does come out ahead on that play because they were able to get, I think, 3 kills, and they're getting a lot of damage on this turret. They might be able to claim this for the first turret. But, I mean, it does let Kaisa a little bit back into this game, lets her farm the lane. Probably Lux should have gone up to that fight in the top lane while Kaisa stayed here. We're going to see Xerath open up with his ult again. Lux is going to flash away, otherwise would have gotten hit by that 3rd shot. And there's also another fight around mid. So, very, very action-packed game. 18 kills in the first 14 minutes here. Lux has gotten very low again. And if we're looking at what Zed's built, he's got the full Dustblade and the full Ghostblade, the double swords build right here at the, not even at the 14-minute mark. And honestly, Xerath is playing a really good game as well. 0-0-11. So here comes Zed again, looking to dive behind the tower. He's going to get that 1 kill so easily. And then with Lux, it's like he almost doesn't even need to bother. Does fail his flash there, which is significant because Elise is here and Myth's Katarina is here as well. And they're going to get the shutdown. So that's 1,000 gold. Honestly, not worth it for Zed to dive behind that tower. The Kaisa and the Lux were, what, 0-3 and 0-5 going into that. Now they're 0-4, 0-6. They weren't worth anything, and Zed gave away 1,000 gold killing spree for that. So the failed flash, pretty significant. Gives away the kill. and gives up his killing spree. Now Myth is lurking around here, the dragon has respawned, and blue team is looking to take this. Again, if Zed just kills the two of them and doesn't, well, if Zed just manages to get out of that, they have an easy dragon take here. Instead, Myth's going to go in, uses his ultimate, then uses the reset to Shunpo next to the Xerath player, dodges the stun, picks up that kill for the double kill. Now we've got a teleport coming in, but it's a little bit too late from Alawi. Dragon's already dead, but this fight is going to continue, so we see the Alawi ult used. We're going to find Elise getting popped, but Akali dies as well. Myth Shunpo's over the wall to the blast cone, and now Lux and Kaisa are here, and they're going to go ahead and finish this kill off. So Alawi falls, and while that was going on, Yorick again stayed top lane, took the tower, and now Zed's here as well, managed to pick up a kill on Kaisa. Wants to get Myth, but Myth finishes channeling the recall. As I was saying, Yorick stayed top lane, he just continued farming. He got that tower, so he got tower first blood for the team. And again, he is a long way ahead in this matchup. Again, still about 1,000 gold ahead, and he's going to look to deny more minions on this tower. So the 0-1-0 doesn't look very impressive, but Yorick's winning this matchup, and winning it pretty significantly here. Elsewhere, Myth is winning his lane pretty significantly. I mean, again, he's got 6 kills, and the Akali only has 1. And they're also way ahead in the jungle matchup. I mean, it wouldn't look like that, right? It doesn't look like jungle's that far ahead, but jungle's 1,500 gold ahead. And then, granted, the blue team is extremely far ahead on the bot side of the map, as you would expect, because it's 14-1 Zed up against the bot lane that is 111 on the part of Myth's team. So yeah, Kaisa, Lux not having a good game. Probably need to get some kind of armor there. And I missed another kill because this game's just really chock full of kills. Alright, I think we have a moment to back up here and look a little bit more at what Myth is doing here. He did rush the Gunblade, which is the first core item that you build on a Katarina, so he did rush that item to completion. He is skilling his Bouncing Blade first and his Shunpo second. W the 1-point skill. Apologies if I misspoke earlier and said Shunpo with the 1-point skill. Forgot that Shunpo does in fact deal damage, doesn't just reposition you. So yeah, as we see Lux get popped yet again by another death mark, and Zed goes out to 15-1-1 on the game. As I mentioned, so Q first, and then your Shunpo, your E second, 1 point, apparently all that you need in W. Of course, skill your ultimate whenever it's available. And I haven't even shown the text for the ultimate yet, so here it is, Death Lotus. Again, purely cooldown based, doesn't rely on mana or energy or anything like that. Katarina becomes a flurry of blades, rapidly throws knives to the nearest 3 enemy champions, deals X amount of magic damage per knife, total over 2.5 seconds, blah blah blah. Also applies grievous wounds to enemies struck, reducing healing and regeneration by 40%. So that's the basics of Katarina. Relatively short range champion, has to get up near enemy champs. Has all the reset abilities. When she grabs the dagger, her Shunpo cooldown is reduced. When she ults, she deals lots of magic damage to immediately nearby enemies. And she also gets those resets on her passive. If an enemy champion she has damaged dies, then all of her cooldowns are reduced. If she gets 2 kills in a fight, she can typically Death Lotus again. Well, I guess right now she would need 3 kills in a fight, but later on, when she hits max cooldown reduction and rank 3 in her ultimate, if she gets 2 kills in a fight, or really just damages 2 enemy champions who die in a fight, she can Death Lotus and then immediately Shunpo and Death Lotus again, and you get the idea. That's why she's kind of an assassin-based champion. If she gets an initial kill in a team fight, she snowballs really hard and then gets more kills in the team fight. Note that Myth has picked up the Seeker's Arm Guard, is building towards a Zanya's Hourglass. Crucially important item on Katarina, because she is such short range, she has to get into the middle of team fights, and that means that she needs to use Zanya's to be able to survive and wait for her cooldowns to come back up. Anyway, Zed looked like he was going to get that kill, but nope, as it turns out, Xerath's Comet proc actually picks it up instead. Lux does get off a full combo there, so that's quite nice. And now Elise is going to be able to finish off Xerath, who again was having a really good game. Now we're going to see Zed look to go in. He's trying to finish off Lux, doesn't quite get it. Instead, the Deathmark's going to pop on the Elise jungler for Myth's team. Now Akali looking to go in, going to continue chasing. Zed's going to pick up 1 kill, and Zed's going to pick up a 2nd kill. And now, ooh, Lux went back into the fight. That was not the best time to go into the fight right there. And then there's a separate kill on the bot side of the map as Jax gets the kill on Katarina, though he does, unfortunately for him, die in the process. So the extended ace for the blue team, they're going to look to take this tower. And wow, they are in great shape on this game right now. 5,000 gold ahead, 24-13 in kills. They have the more impactful of the 2 dragons because they have an Infernal Drake against just an Ocean Drake. And they're in great shape. There's another dragon spawning shortly, so they really should look to go back and plan for that. Get some vision. Probably should have dropped some vision around the dragon, but that should be their focus right now because this next dragon is a Cloud Drake. And that is a very valuable dragon. I've mentioned this before in the videos, but if you haven't ever seen the stats on this, the dragon that is most correlated with winning is in fact the Cloud Drake if you just have one dragon. So leaving aside stacking them, if you just get one dragon, the Cloud actually does the most to increase your team's chances of winning. It might seem contradictory, but movement speed is just one of those things that's inherently great in League of Legends. Now, if you stack them, stacked Infernals are more valuable, but Cloud Drake great by itself. Alright, so Myth is going to use the Zhonya's here, or stopwatch, she doesn't have a full Zhonya yet, and Shunpo's out. Now Zed takes the Blast Cone in. I think that might have been a mistake there, because he is going to get jumped on, and although he does finish off Myth, he's going to die in the process, and again, that's a 1,000 gold shutdown, not worth it. Although they are going to get Elise on the kind of the back end of that, so maybe with the kill on Elise, it does become worth it. But really, really aggressive by Zed to go in. He does run his scoreline to 19-2. At one brief moment, he was actually 19 kills, 1 death, before he then subsequently died. But he gave away a 1,000 gold killing spree. So debatable as to whether that was worth it. Anytime you give a 1,000 gold killing spree away to someone like Katarina, who is a champion that just scales really, really hard with more gold, it's questionable as to how worthwhile it is. Myth was able to use that to straight up finish his Zhonya's, which again is a fairly expensive item. So now he does have the Zhonya's Hourglass, and that's going to be pretty significant. One thing about Zed is he tends not to scale that great into the late game. Really, really strong champ in the early and mid game, but the problem is that death mark can be played around. It's if you use a Zhonya's Hourglass or a stopwatch, you can get around the damage that way. Also can be cleansed with a Quicksilver Sash, and honestly, the Kai'Sa player should be looking to get a Quicksilver Sash so that she can cleanse the... Oh, Xerath gonna flash in, and we'll get back to that in a second. Gonna flash in and land the stun. Doesn't get that there. Let's see, can he manage to finish this one off? Kai'Sa probably should just be able to walk, but nope, not able to escape that Arcano Pulse. But Myth is here, he's going to look to follow this up. Does not need to use the ultimate, just enough to Shunpo in and use the blade, use the bouncing blade to get the kill along with basic attacks. Did use the Hextech Gunblade, but that was sufficient to get the kill. Now Zed's going to go in, but look, there is the Zhonya's Hourglass. The death mark does not go off. So again, a great example of how the Zhonya's Hourglass will counter a Zed champion. And Zed actually took a lot of tower damage to make that work, so he's relatively vulnerable here. Let's see if he's going to be able to get out of this. York is chasing after him. Elise has caught the Akali player over here, so the fight continues. And Akali, yeah, you can dash with your ult, but that's not really where you want to be. And it looks like Elise should be able to polish this one off. Yep, gets that. Actually gives away a shutdown in the process. So more gold going into Elise. And Elise has managed to get several key shutdowns. I was wondering why Elise had so much gold, but that's right. She picked up the initial shutdown on Zed and got 1,000 gold from this. Now, some kind of a play coming in here on the part of Zed and the Alawi, but really should just not have stuck around for that. Probably should have just backed, and so we get a double kill on the part of the York. And then another mistake here by the Zed, or excuse me, by the Jax jungler up in top lane, sticking around way too long and gives away that kill to Elise for basically nothing. So don't look right now, but Myth's team has gotten right back into this game because Red Team had a lot of killing sprees, and they gave away those bounties really easily. Also, Kai'Sa picks up a tower down here. Excuse me. So Kai'Sa, even though she's 2-7-3 on the game, she's you know, hanging in there, not that far behind. I mean, she's long way behind Zed, but she's comparable in strength to the rest of the team. 7,300 gold, more than Alawi, equal to Jax, more than the Akali. It's really just the Zed who's ahead on the enemy team. Only one who's like decisively ahead right now. And granted, Zed is way, way, way ahead of the rest of the team. But it's honestly kind of a problem to have so much gold concentrated on one champion. It's usually a little bit better if you split it up amongst multiple champs. And now Red Team is making a play for Baron here. This is a very risky Baron. Honestly, this probably should not work. I mean, this is a really big mistake by Blue Team. Look at this. No vision of any of the enemy champions on the map. No vision of Baron. Gee, I wonder where they could be. Well, as it turns out, Red Team is at Baron. And they managed to claim that. They really should not have been able to get that. All 5 enemy champs were alive on the map. So a really, really bad giveaway by the blue team. And now that's going to turn into Baron. Unfortunately, though, for the red team, some of them are fighting here. Some of them are not. Like, Kai'Sa and Elise went in to fight. And that Deathmark should be able to claim Elise. Yep. So, pretty bad to give away 2 of their Baron buffs right there. And give a lot of the advantage they just picked up from the Baron away. They're going to get some of it back here, though, because Alawi has apparently failed her map awareness test. Just standing there under the tower with no champs nearby. Going to get rooted by Lux. And then Myth steals that kill away from Lux. Come on, the Lux supports 09 Myth. Give him at least one kill. But in any case, that's going to kill the Alawi. So the earlier death to Elise kind of wiped out by Alawi dying in turn right there. And it's actually basically dead even on the gold in the game right now. And if anything, red team's probably ahead because they have managed to pick up the Baron buff. And they should be able to get at least another tower or two off of this Baron push. Myth is now 9-4-3 on the game. He doesn't have a lot of minion kills, but nobody really has a lot of minion kills because this game has been so action-heavy. Now here comes Zed, but he's kind of rushing into two members of the enemy team. He's going to use the Death Mark. Myth gets off his Death Lotus, and then the Zanyas to dodge the Death Mark. Really, really nicely done. That is how you play around a fed Zed, by using things like a Quicksilver Sash or a Stopwatch or a Zanyas to dodge the Death Mark. So Myth got off his initial abilities, used his Death Lotus, that's enough to kill Zed, and then immediately uses the Zanyas to dodge the Death Mark. Super, super good stuff right there. And so that opens up a chance to push. In comes the Lux Binding, and that's going to create a kill. One nice thing about Lux support is even if you're having an absolute dog breath garbage of a game, like this 096 build, 096 game here, you can still be useful to the team because you always have that binding, and if you just hit those long-range bindings, you can still be useful to the team and create kills, as the Lux player was able to do there by hitting the long-range binding on Xerath, followed up by the Kaisa, and that's enough to pick off that kill. And so it's also going to turn into a second tower mid, and so this has been a pretty good Baron push overall. They've managed to get 2 towers in mid, and now it should turn into a Cloud Drake for the team. And like I said, Cloud Drake's really, really useful overall. You don't want the enemy team to be stacking the Cloud Drakes. I mean, it's not as bad as stacked Infernal Drakes, but it's still not good if they get all that movement speed, just because you can't ever really run away from a team that has a bunch of Cloud Drakes. Whereas if both teams have a Cloud Drake, that's a much better situation. You've also got the movement speed bonus, and you can disengage from fights that you don't want to be in without too much trouble. Okay, let's check back in on Myth again. He's gone back to Stormblood. Let's see. He now has 334 ability power. Again, he rushed the Gunblade first because that's the first core item on Katarina. He went for the Hourglass second. I don't think you would necessarily do that in every game, but in this game where the Zed was really strong, that was the logical thing to pick up. And then now he's picked up an Oblivion Orb for the extra magic penetration, and he's probably building towards a Death Cap next. I'm assuming that that's what the Needlessly Large Rod is being built towards. Looks like we're going to have another fight up here in the top lane between Zed and Katarina. So Myth is going to dash backwards, gets off the Death Lotus, and wow, didn't even need to use his Zanyas there. Just a total outplay. Let's go back and watch that again, just because this is really nice on the part of Myth. Just dodged everything from Zed. All right, so Zed going to look to go in, tosses a Shuriken, misses the Shuriken, jumps back to the dagger, jumps onto a minion, and then gets off the Death Lotus right there. And yeah, Zed does not have any magic. I guess he has a little magic resist on the Merc Treads, but that's it. So Myth, just a total outplay there. Zed missing all of his skills, whereas Myth dodging and landing his and getting off a really nice Death Lotus by Shunpoing to a minion after he had just Shunpoed to the dagger. I should also mention, now that Shunpo is maxed, note that picking up the dagger reduces Shunpo's cooldown by 90%. So basically, if you Shunpo onto the if you pick up the dagger, you can immediately Shunpo again, for all intents and purposes. Myth, however, getting caught under the tower here. He's going to get hit by the Xerath. The Xerath Arcano Pulse. Oh, the dodges right there. And looks like he's going to be okay. Manages to get the kill onto Alawi, and now the Cloud Drake's going to kick in. The Ocean Drake's going to kick in, and he should be totally fine. Not even close, baby. So some really sick mechanical outplays here by Myth. First on the Zed, and then to get the kill on the Alawi player, and then get out from that situation where it looked like Xerath had him dead to rights underneath the tower. This has, again, opened up more opportunities for Kaisa. Kaisa has kind of gotten back in this. Again, still 2-7 on the game, but does have a decent amount of gold. Has 9,700 gold. Yes, that's trailing all of the other solo laners and the jungler. Elise has a ton of gold because she's gotten some of the big shutdowns in this game. But 9,800 gold, about to hit 10,000. Still more than anyone on the enemy team except Zed. So Kaisa, you know, a good scaling champion into the late game. She will still be effective. Lux, not very effective. Also, Lux, really not the situation to rush a Ludens. Probably should be picking up a Seeker's Arm Guard and getting the, looking to get the Zanyas, just so you don't die every 2 seconds to the Zed. It's your only way to defend against that Death Mark. And as I mentioned, Kaisa really should have picked up a Quicksilver Sash. But anyway, we do have a continuing fight over here. Yorick's gotten caught out by the enemy team a little bit, and that Lux Laser is going to miss. Akali gets the kill on Yorick, does pick up a shutdown. She's in the Twilight Shroud. It's a shame nobody has a Vision Ward to toss down. And so that's going to allow Akali to dash out of there. And this kind of stalled out the push. Obviously, their Baron has run out right now, but Red Team, like I said, kind of has stalled out on their latest push. This is also not a safe place for Kaisa to be at all, not with Zed lurking around. Zed is going to get cocooned. Let's see if he can manage to escape this. He is going to look to go in. It's a nice Death Lotus from Myth, although Myth then does get blown up as well. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 right there, with Kaisa picking up the second kill. So that turned into a good fight, 2-for-1, yeah, 2-for-1 because Yorick died earlier. And now they really have their option on what to do. Honestly, I think the play right here is to look to back and try to take Baron. This would be a tough play for the enemy team to take Baron, and Yorick could teleport into the fight, as opposed to just kind of like standing around mid, kind of doing stuff, but not really doing stuff. I think the play there, yeah, enemy team had no vision. I think they could have gone to Baron. I think Yorick could have teleported in, and I think they could have gotten that one. Instead, they just kind of stood around not doing anything, and any opportunity that was gained off of that 2-for-1 play has now been lost at this point. So nothing comes out of it. It is a solo queue game. Bear that in mind. This is not like super coordinated teams, but just trying to point out the opportunities that I think were there that could have been taken by one team or another. Yeah, and so now they got the 2-for-1, and then they just kind of stood around in the jungle for 15 seconds and then just recalled. So gained absolutely nothing off of that relatively good play for them. If we want to check back in on the Zed, note that Zed, after starting technically 19-1, is now 20-6 and has really fallen off. Has just continued to dash into the middle of the enemy team and then die. Has only gotten 1 kill since picking up that huge spree earlier. Is just stacking the armor penetration items, lethality items, Edge of Night, Duskblade, Yomu's Ghostblade, and now the Lord Dominic's Regard. Did pick up the Merc Treads, but this is total Glass Cannon Zed. He has 74 armor and 72 magic resist and 1900 health, so he will die instantly if anyone gets on top of him. And really needs to outplay these fights in order to not die instantly. Has not been able to do that thus far. And look, Zed trying to go in and just gets popped immediately by Myth's team, so not great there. Gives away another very needless kill. So now Red Team has 1 of 2 choices. They can look to force a fight at the Baron. Granted, the blue team does have the Scuttlecrab visions. That's a little bit trickier, but they apparently want to look to fight, but like some of them are back and some of them are not fighting, and Kaisa's low. So it's kind of a split call right now here on the Red Team's part. Not entirely sure what they want to do. Some nice Xerath ults, gets in good damage from long range, and any chance to push this mid tower is pretty much gone now. The Maiden of the Mist is just kind of standing there. Lux is going to ult over here. Alright, so they do get a kill on Alawi, so this might be a good time. Honestly, again, because they've got the Ocean Drake, they probably should look to take Baron. They did kill 2 members of the enemy team. They could look to back and grab this. Like I said, I know the enemy team does have Scuttlecrab vision, but it's a place they could look to go. They have no minions mid, so not really going to get much of anything out of this. But at the very least, they should ping Dragon and take the Ocean Drake, because getting that Ocean Drake would be nice, just so the enemy team doesn't get it mostly. But instead, it's another split call. Half the team's backing. Note that Kaisa and Myth's Katarina back. And now the enemy team has revived, and Elise is going to get picked off. Good Lux ult, but Lux is really weak, so that's not going to do anything. Now Yorick gets picked off, and blue team should absolutely run as 5 to Baron. Look to start this. They just killed the jungler. They have a 5-on-3 advantage. They could teleport Alawi in. Teleport's off cooldown. That is 100% what they should be doing. So what's blue team going to do? They've just gotten a golden opportunity to get back in this game. Well, they're kind of standing around, and they're going to kill Lux, but so what? Lux is 110 on the game. They're going to kill Lux, but then Myth is able to come in and kill the Zed player, so that is not an even trade. The Zed player has 21 kills, and the Lux is 110 on the game, so not an even trade at all. And they're just not really doing anything with this opportunity that they picked up. Really think they should have forced the Baron fight there. Excuse me. Now, maybe Myth comes in as Katarina and kills them all in the Baron pit. Myth is super strong. He's finished the death cap now, and has almost 500 AP. So maybe Myth comes in and kills them all in the Baron pit, but at the very least, you know, force the play. Like do something. They've been slowly losing this game over the course of the last 15 minutes, and instead they don't do anything. They don't even take the Ocean Drake, which would have been super nice for them, because note they don't have an Ocean Drake. One Infernal, 1 Cloud, 1 Ocean would be a really nice set of dragons to have, but they end up doing nothing. And red team's able to get right back in this. And so now all champs are alive on both teams again. And all the objectives of the game are back up again as well. So it looks like red team is going to be first on the play. Looks like they're going to be the ones to focus on trying to take this Ocean Drake. They don't really need the Ocean Drake. It's more just denying it to the enemy team. Like, double Ocean Drake is nice, don't get me wrong, but it's mostly so the enemy team doesn't have an Ocean Drake here. And let's see, we're going to see the Yorick Ghouls coming out, getting in a little bit late, harass. Lux poking here, but mostly red team just goes ahead and grabs this. Very poor focus on objectives from the blue team, like really, really bad. All right, so Zed's going to go in as well. He's going to use the death mark on Lux, but he is going to get immediately popped. And now he's gotten the Jax player into bad shape as well. And as it turned out, Lux actually survives this. And now that's going to turn into a kill on the Alawi player as well. Myth does die in the fight, but he got off his Death Lotus, and that's all he really needs. As it turns into a 4-for-1, Elise going to flash over the Xerath attempted stun. Does hit the Cocoon. There's the stun, but Kaisa is able to follow up on that. And then it's enough damage just from the... which one of the abilities was that? Not the Venomous Bite. It was one of the abilities in her human form, sorry. Can't remember all the names of the Elise skills. So that's going to turn ultimately to an ace, 5-for-1 ace. And now the path is clear to go ahead and take this Baron. They could look to push mid. Again, it turns into a split call. Kaisa pushes mid. The other three members of the team go to Baron. I like the call to take Baron here just because you really don't want the blue team getting the Baron. And by taking Baron, again, you deny the enemy team the chance to take Baron. However, Kaisa by herself here, trying to take the inhib. That's very unfortunate. A good example of why you need to be grouped with the rest of the team. As soon as Zed respawned, needed to back off of that. Honestly, could have gotten the tower and then backed, but going for the inhibitor gets a little too greedy, gives away another death. Also, again, really should have picked up a Quicksilver Sash to deal with Zed. Instead, picked up the Storm Razor. Like, there's a case for getting the Infinity Edge plus the Ruined Hurricane, because that's kind of the basis of your build. But come on, grab a Quicksilver Sash before you build that Storm Razor. And now going for a Rage Blade as well. Just no defense whatsoever against the Zed, who has 22 kills. Like, seriously, you need to get some kind of an item to survive this. And similar thing for the Lux. If you're wondering why the Lux has died 10 times, it's because she never has gone for a Seeker's Arm Guard, has never gone for a Stopwatch, has not gone for a Zanya's. Now building a needlessly large rod. And in comes Zed again, although I guess to a certain extent, as long as Zed is trading for Lux, that's worth it. Maybe this is like a four-dimensional chess play here, where the idea was, we'll keep having Zed commit suicide to kill the Lux who has died 11 times. I don't know. If so, maybe it's actually a really smart play, but all kidding aside, but like, be serious. Just get a Stopwatch and get a Zanya's. You don't need the needlessly large rod. Find some way so that you're not dying every 2 seconds to Zed. And Zed does pick up a kill, but he's now picked up 10 deaths as well. So from 19-1 on the game to 23-10, yeah, that's a scoreline moving in the wrong direction, to be sure. And as it turns out, a blue team turret was down. Where was that? I guess that was in... Where exactly did one of their turrets die? I guess that was in... Oh, I guess that was the tower in top lane, I think. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Red team just needs to organize together. Again, they've got the Baron buff. They are ahead of the game by quite a bit right now. They're 6,000 gold ahead. Just need to group together, push over these lanes, not keep getting picked off one at a time. They need to pressure... Honestly, since they've already got the mid tower down, they want to grab the inhib mid and then rotate and take down one of the side turrets. Either bot or top will work. They have minions in top, so top's probably the better call. But just group up, push over this inhib, then maybe keep one person mid to keep the Baron buff running, and then the rest of you group top and look to take those top turrets. The game is being delayed a little bit because team is, this is disorganized solo queue play. So there they go. Get the inhib. Now they need to go off to a side lane. They should not try to break the double Nexus turret. Again, this is the strongest part of the enemy team's base. Just overly risky to try to break this. So looks like Myth has gotten the memo. He's going to run off to the top lane. They need to be careful not to get picked in mid. And honestly, Yorick is probably putting himself in more danger than he really should here. Just keep these cannon minions buffed, stay close enough so that they are continuing to hit the Nexus turrets. Keep that Baron buff on the minions while the rest of the team shoves in top and looks to take this top turret. And they finally managed to get the minion line up to the turret, so it should be pretty easy to take this. Lux, you're taking turret fire. Lux, you're taking turret fire. Lux! Yeah, this was not a good Lux game. I don't know what else to say. Oh boy, 12th death on the game for Lux. Alright, Myth though, oh my god, that death load is so much damage. Once again, he's going to use the Zanyas to dodge out on the damage Death Lotus a second time to pick up the kill on the Zeret. And that's that. They are able to get the ace. Even with Lux dead, dying to the turret. Myth, just really, really nice play. Gets off the Death Lotus, picks up 1 kill. Uses the Zanyas to dodge the Death Mark yet again. Then gets off a second Death Lotus to pick up another kill. Kaisa got the other 3 kills, so triple kill for Kaisa. And that will do it. Here at the 39-minute mark, right before 40 minutes, Myth's team finishes it off, and it's not even close in the end, as they're almost 10,000 gold ahead. A good example of how the Zed player just was not able to snowball that game. He got the 20 kills really early, but only finishes with 23 kills, died 11 times. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Myth ends up 18-6-11 for a really nice Katarina game as well. If you look at the gold distribution, just much more evenly distributed gold on the part of Myth's team. 15k, 17k, 17k, 15k, whereas on the part of the blue team, it's literally just the Zed, 16k, and he was actually passed by 2 members of Myth's team by the end of that game. Really, really poor objective control from the blue team. They never placed any focus on Baron whatsoever. They didn't do dragons when the opportunity to take dragons. Just really, really a solo queue game of people just kind of running around with no focus on objectives whatsoever. And although the Zed might be frustrated by his teammates, it's like, yeah, 1-9 Alawi, blah, blah, blah. He didn't do much to snowball that game, kept dying again and again and again, and allowing Myth's team chances to get back in this. So I hope you enjoyed this assassin-heavy game and how to deal with the Fed Zed. Once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you're enjoying this. Until next time, have a great week. See you guys soon. Take care.